Welcome to the Liberated Feminine podcast. I'm your host, Lucy Lampy. And today's episode, our very first episode of this podcast that I am finally launching after a couple years of really sitting with this and letting it simmer and soak in and take shape. Today's episode is about taking that first step into your wild woman liberation. I get this question a lot. Okay, I'm ready for my wild woman experience. I'm ready to reclaim my wild feminine and do all these things and be my full self. And how the fuck do I do that? What is literally the first step? And what I want, those who have been watching my journey for some time now, maybe throughout the past even 7-8 years, to understand is that, this is a journey. This is an ongoing, lifelong journey. It's not something we arrive and now suddenly we're these liberated wild women. But there are phases, there are milestones. And really for me, it's like if we get to the point where we feel at home in the many, many facets of who we are as women, that is a major, we'll call it a milestone. And with that question of what do I literally do first? Do I start with the self-pleasure practice that you talk about so much? Do I start with, do I jump into pole dancing because I feel inspired by when you do that? Or do I just, get on the floor and start rolling around and dance to whatever music is moving my soul? So it could be any and all of those. But what I really want to bring it back down to the basics with is these 3 elements. And actually, before we even get into the elements, it's the overarching theme of taking up space. Because the heart of a wild woman, a wild-hearted woman, she is not afraid to take up space. Okay, I'm not just talking about physical space and not trying to overcompensate for insecurity or something that she feels is small in her, but this taking up space even with her sound, taking up space with her expression, taking up space with her thoughts, like being, allowed to take form into something, taking up space with her creativity. And a lot of this, is often because I also do work in the realm of relationships. Within relationships is misconstrued as a big permission slip to just go wild on their partners. And I myself did that. I myself did that in my previous relationship, in my marriage. And I learned, we both learned, the hard way, what didn't work in that realm. And sometimes when we think, I'm going to take up space now, we think, I'm going to unleash my fury at the person or people that are the closest to me. And so that's not what I'm talking about. And I really want to emphasize that. What I'm talking about is creating a space where you can make it all about you. All about you. Oftentimes when women start this journey to really finding their voice and liberating these parts of themselves that they have kept hidden or, repressed or small or made to be kind of, I don't think this is an appropriate part of me to ever show anyone. What happens is those parts of us begin to then subconsciously drive our behaviors, our decisions, our perception of the world. And when we start to tap into that and liberate our voice, oh my God, it feels so fucking good. It feels so good. And so what do we want to do then? We swing to the other, we swing to the other extreme of the pendulum where it's like, I need to express my truth now. Maybe I'll do a different episode on this specifically within relationship. But what happens is, we got to learn how to harness this powerful fire that we have within us innately in our feminine energy. And also with that, learning that taking up space doesn't mean bulldozing other people. We naturally need to go through this part of the well, let's call it the stage of making it all about me. And again, to do that without really causing a lot of collateral damage in our relationships and our lives, it's so important to create a space, again, like just really, really let these words simmer and soak in, a space to make it all about me, a space where I can express and I can emote and I can move and I can tap in and I can listen to, for example, different music that inspires different energy in me, that draws it out, that activates it, and to just allow that to exist. So within that space, to give yourself full permission to just make it all about you, allow yourself to take up space within that space with your movement, your sound, and your breath. And I want to say that especially when it comes to sound, this feels really vulnerable for a lot of women. It did for me. I remember feeling so awkward just making sounds that weren't, for lack of a better word, just normal sounds. And especially once I started my self-pleasure practice, to be able to just, just make all the noises, even though I knew full and well that there was probably some neighbor that could hear me. And you just gotta kind of get over yourself when it comes to this. This is part of what makes it such a deep, rich, transformative spiritual practice, that you get to really, in your body, establish these cellular memories that, I can feel, and I can emote, I can express, and it is safe to do that, even if I'm judged, even if people are wondering what I'm doing, or they're assuming things about me. And you begin to really ingrain into your cellular memory that, okay, it's safe to be me. It's safe to be me. And what this does too is it gives you subconsciously and in your physical body this permission to I'm gonna keep using this phrase here, take up space in your life. So you no longer have to try to consciously take up space by not crossing your legs, but sitting with your legs open and sitting with your chest out and your arms up in the bear pose. Like, you just begin to embody this in a whole different depth. And so what, again, is so important is for us to have a space to make it all about me. Oftentimes, too, when women are really tapping into their inner wild woman, their raw essence, their raw power and fire, they begin to really be confronted with how much of their, what we're going to call wounded maiden energy, has been running the show. Because there hasn't been a space for it to be all about me, me, me. Because, of course, the selflessness and doing things for others is a virtue and a value, and who wants to be perceived as selfish or reckless or careless or childish. So what happens when we give ourselves a space to just be, this space is all about me. It is for me. It's all about me. Any part of me that needs to show up, any part of me that has been ignored, any part of me that has been shut down, any part of me that has been made bad by society, by culture, by religion, by whatever perception that may be, that she gets to exist here. And when those parts of us have a safe space to be expressed and be experienced and be embodied and to just flow through your being, you are going to walk around lighter, not as weighed down. And these are feelings, these weighing downs that we don't even realize we're walking around with until we no longer have it weighing us down. So if you are looking for literally that very next step, or the very first step, to embodying or liberating your inner wild woman, I mean, clearly you've already taken the actual first step, which is acknowledge to yourself that it's something you want to do. Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to this, I bet. And so the next actionable step is to commit to yourself. Commit to yourself to create a space for all of you to exist. Now, very practically speaking, now this is my Capricorn coming out, okay? Very practically speaking, there has to be a conscious decision, a conscious commitment. This is that self-discipline aspect, but really don't think of it as much as self-discipline if that rubs you the wrong way, if that has a lot of resistance behind it and that feels like you're forcing yourself to do something. Think of it as an act, a devotional act of love, because that's really what it is. A devotional act of love to yourself, to your heart, to your deepest truth. And that does require consistently showing up to that devotional practice. But, ritualize it, bring the magic into it. And very practically speaking, decide, how am I going to work this into my day? For so many years, I actually did my practices of this kind before the kids got up. So my kids currently right now, I have 2 in high school and 2 in elementary, and I am pregnant, about 3.5 months. And so when my kids were all significantly younger, I had to do it before they got up. So I would get up at 5 or 5:30 and do all of my practices, do my movement, my self-pleasure, my meditation, my energy work, connect with my ancestors, do all these, just all of my practices before they even woke up. That's just what that season called for. And that was my commitment level. It just met my season like that. Because I knew that as soon as they went to school, I had to get on calls. I had to get to work. I had things to do. And so that motivated me, like, this is my chance today to do it. It's now or never. And I would literally envision before getting out of bed, this would motivate my ass out of bed to get up when I didn't feel like it. Those of you who are parents, maybe you can really resonate with this. But I would envision 2 different realities for how my day would go. One, where I would wake up and do my things and take care of my nervous system, connect with this source of love, just feel the ease in my body, just like drop in. And then how I would show up for my kids the rest of the day after having done that. And then I would imagine the reality of not doing that, getting up, feeling overstimulated, feeling touched out already, just not having the capacity and just yearning for that space for myself, and how I would show up for my kids if I took that route. And that would just get my ass right out of bed, because I was like, oh, that is not how I want to feel. That is not how I want to show up. And so find that deeper vision for why the fuck you want to do this. Okay, you've got to do that. This is like some basic personal growth stuff. It's just finding your why. What is that bigger vision? That vision eventually also adding to that became just this feeling of flow and ease and pleasure, instead of feeling so uptight and stressed and frazzled and rushed. And that became my motivation, because I would say to myself, oh, yes, more of that, more of that, more of that. And this is how I do my part in welcoming and creating and cultivating that. So again, different seasons will call for different things. Currently, I'm in a season where all of my kids are in school, right? So I have a different kind of spaciousness until I have this baby, and I start again with the little kid phase, the baby and toddler and little kid phases all over again. And so that season will call for something different, but you decide, how can you make this flow? How can it flow in harmony, with as much harmony as possible with your current season of life? And you don't have to do all the things. You don't have to do the self-pleasure and the movement and the meditation and the yoga. Like, just stop trying to get it perfect. Start with one thing. One thing. And if I were to recommend one thing and one thing only as a starting point, it would be to move your body. Move your body. This is another thing that we are so deeply uncomfortable in taking up space, even with ourselves. It's like, you ever had that feeling where you're like embarrassed in front of yourself? I used to try to dance by myself. I did not grow up a dancer. I dance every day now. I've danced every day for years now. So it's part of my, it's like in my DNA now, But I used to feel so awkward just dancing in front of myself. I would literally feel embarrassed. I would feel flushed and like, what am I even doing? I look so weird. I look so silly. I look really dumb, and I'm not good at this. And so it's not about being good at it. Okay? If you want to learn dance, go nuts. Go do it. Have fun. I eventually did do that. But this is about just moving the energy through your body, noticing where you have that tension, like are your shoulders hunched over a lot? Are your hips feeling tight? Does it feel, inappropriate? Do you feel shame when you swivel your hips? Do you feel do you feel some kind of old, for me it was a lot of religious trauma, a lot of programming around what it is to be a good woman, a good mom, when you're just moving your body freely. Like, what's coming up in that? And just allowing those thoughts to come and go, just like you would in a meditation practice. And I would just do that. I would start there. Let's say make the marker, 10 to 15 minutes of movement. Find yourself a playlist that feels like it's activating something in you. Maybe some slow, sensual music. Maybe something more excitable and high energy. Maybe a little bit of all the different things. And just allow your body to lead the way. You're not coming up with dance moves. You're just letting your body, you're letting the music move your body. You're letting it happen. Let it happen. Let it happen. Keep that in mind. Make that be your motto as you are moving your body. It's just let it happen. Let it overtake you. And practice being present with that energy. Now, not only does this have really amazing benefits in your energetic and emotional and mental state, if you do this every day for, let's say, 30 days, I would challenge you to do that for 30 days. Just move your body, dance, feel the energy, let it move you 10 to 15 minutes a day for 30 days, and see how much shifts in your energy. And while you're doing it too, this is next level, to allow yourself to not only breathe and, really release through the breath, especially the exhale, but to release with sound. So as you're moving, really challenging yourself to take up space in the sound space as well. So you're moving, you're feeling, you're, just release. Let it happen. Let it flow. And just see the difference in your energy. Notice, feel it. And then you build from there. And what you'll notice too is that in your day-to-day, you'll feel more comfortable in using your voice in all the other ways. And you'll begin to notice new thoughts you have about yourself. And you'll be confronted with some uncomfortable truths about yourself and maybe where you've been hiding from yourself. And so I know that all of that coming from 10 to 15 minutes of moving your body with this intention of being present with what's there, it might not seem like all that is possible, but I'm telling you that it is. So all that to summarize, to begin liberating your inner wild woman, if you're not quite ready to commit to the full shebang of a 30-minute, 45-minute pleasure practice and all the other things that you may hear me talking about on my other platforms, begin here. Begin here. And be patient with yourself. Take it easy on yourself. Have a lot of compassion on yourself, and then whatever comes up. So begin there. Let me know. Maybe reach out to me at support@thewildawakening.com. Let me know how it's going for you. And for more resources to support you from home in all of these things, in self-pleasure, in wild feminine embodiment, in activating your voice, sensual dance, inner child healing, all of these really powerful parts of the process, check out my erotic liberation bundle at lucylampy.com. Thank you for joining today, and until next time, here's to liberating your wild feminine heart. Bring the bass.